Good afternoon, everyone. Today is our 6th week of this series. From the beginning, 5 sessions ago, we start to bring the teaching of the Buddha. And last couple of weeks ago, we were talking about something that the principle of how we can practice his Dhamma, the Dhamma practice. If you remember, that is the 3 steps: Sila, Samadhi, and Pañca. Okay? So these 3 steps actually is the step that it guides us in, as a lay people, to live in this world peacefully and happy. That's it. Okay? Because his teaching is mainly aimed for us. From the first steps, we know that morality is the most important because we must stand on a solid foundation of morality in order to gain any ground in his teaching at all. So morality must be firm. And sometimes we use the term pure. Must observe until it is pure. Pure precepts, okay? That's the first thing. And we are all here today, and just like every Saturday, we come in here and try to train ourselves to do something. We talked about meditative concentration. In Pali's term we call kammatthana. That is to establish the foundation for the mind to work on, so the mind does not get wavering, travel all over the world, and pick up all those kind of unwholesome things. And that's what we talked about last week, defilements. Because those defilements are upakilesa. They enter as a visitor and they stay. So all those visitors that come in and enter into the mind stream or mind current, that's what makes the mind do things just like all of us do, with greed, anger, and delusion. That is the 3 roots of defilements: lopa, dosa, and moha. Greed, anger, and delusion. Okay? So, so far, we talk about those 2 steps: morality and meditative concentration. So today, we will enter into what we call doctrinal content of wisdom, because the 3rd step of his practice, that is to attain wisdom of pañca. So the word vipassana actually means pañca. Vip means clear. Passana, to see clearly. Whom did we see clearly? We, I, every one of us should see that by yourself clearly. So when you see it clearly, we call that insight. When you gain insight, that's your own wisdom. And to gain insight is by your own development. It's not from listening to the text, sutta maya pañca. It's not from thinking, reflecting, cinta maya pañca. But through your own development, bhavana maya pañca. Wisdom or insight that you gain through your own seeing, your own experience. And I use the term, when you meditate, meditation is the bridge, that gap, your intellectual knowledge from the text, from what you have heard, and bridge that into your own experience, actual experience. So if you do not practice, you do not put that into your own everyday life, you will never see it. So practice is the bridge, that gap between what you have heard and what you actually experience. Okay? So this topic today, the 5 aggregates, in Pali is called Pañca Khandha. Pañca is 5, Khandha is aggregates or heap or pile components, parts, whatever you want to put it, okay? So anything in the 5 groups of this, why is it so important that the Buddha insists that this is the doctrine of wisdom that everyone must know in order to go further in the practice? The reason is this. He's only teach. You remember when we said that the teaching of the Buddha mainly is about dukkha. Dukkha means suffering, and how to be free from suffering. Who is suffering? I. And who is I? Who am I? And that is a question that's been asked since the world begins. Who am I? And this has been discussed, agreed upon, disagreed upon, so millions of years. So this doctrine of the 5 aggregates has been in existence even before the Buddha's time. They know about all these things, okay? But they do not agree exactly what they are until the Buddha came along and said, look, why don't you look deep down to your own self, and that's what you're going to see. So when I describe this doctrine, what I'd like you to do is that look deep down into your own self, your own being, because I want you to see that. I don't want you to listen to me and try to memorize what I said. It's no use. So you walk out of here, you will forget. So look at yourself. When you can see that, you will never forget it, okay? So these 5 aggregates, as I said, it is important in his teaching is because when we talk about suffering, we all suffer from certain things, sometime or the other, all through our life. The problem is, see, when you look at this, our world, everyone dies practically every minute, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. Every single day, everyone dies. But do all of us grieve, fall into deep sorrow, have heart pain, suffer from all those loss? No, we don't, except a certain group of people, okay? We all get sick, okay? Some people get this bad cancer every single day. You go around the world, they have that. Some people don't have anything to eat, they suffer so much. Sometimes it's so hot, some places so cold, they suffer. But most of us do not. The one who suffer, actually the one that consider those events happen to me. So if I should lose someone that's near and dear to me, that's when I suffer. Is that right? Okay? That's the way we are. So anything that happened to me, then it's a big deal. It's a big matter. So this big deal, big thing, because we consider that everything that happened to me, the event belonged to me. Whatever happened, it's mine. So when it is me, it happened to, it is mine event, it's the thing that happened to myself, that's what makes me suffer. So now we're talking about this self. So this doctrine, actually, he tried to tell us, look, so everything that happened to you and you gathered it up and said, this belongs to me, it is mine, that's when you're going to suffer a great deal. Because when it happened to somebody else, do you suffer? We don't. See? So right then and there, if somebody else, we don't. But as soon as it happened to me or I belong to me, I suffer. So this I, that's the reason why people keep bringing up the question, who am I? So the Buddha said, there's 5 aggregates. So yeah, we know about the 5 aggregates, but the I is the body, okay? The I is my feeling, my thought, my idea, my conception, so on and so forth. But I said, look, okay? The Buddha said, wait a minute, slow down. We'll go by one, and we'll see if this thing fit into the way that you see it. Not the way you think, not the way someone told you, but the way you see it. So said, when we talk about these 5 aggregates, it's actually, we all understand that our being, our personality, our person sitting here, sitting right there, here, is made up of 2 parts, right? The first one we call the body. The second one we call the mind. So we have the body and the mind. In Pali, it's rupa and nama. The word nama actually means name, okay? So the body and the physical form and the name. So the name and the form, nama and rupa. And rupa is simple, okay? Here, sitting here, you can touch, you can taste, you can smell. The thing that you can see, it is a form here. Rupa, rupati, the thing that decay, the thing that's going to break down, that's what rupati means. So when you have this form, just look at this form first, okay? How does it become to be this form? Of course, you were born, your parents get together, and you start with little eggs and sperm get together, you become a little tiny embryo, and you were born, come out. But since you were born, you were eating all kind of food, right? All kind of dessert, all kind of water and drink, all kind of stuff. And that's what you keep growing. So when you really look at that, your body actually is a representative of those 4 elements, isn't it? The elements from what? The earth, the property of the water, the property of the wind, the property of the fire. Let's look at it, okay? There's a lot of solid part in our body. Well, you don't have to look much. When you look at people out in front of you, what do you see? You see the head hair, you see the body hair, you see the nails, you see the teeth, you see the skin. That's all you see. You don't see their guts, you don't see the large intestine, the small intestine, or their heart or the liver and lung and spleen, stuff like that. You don't. You see only the outer part here. You just chant that, okay? From the top of the head all the way down to the sole of your feet, it's covered with the skin, with the nails, all things like that. It's solid. So it must be something from the elements from the earth, isn't it? And when you eat food, all kind of things, what do you have to eat? You have to eat what? Carbohydrate group, right? You have the protein, you have a little fat, you have all those vitamins and all kind of stuff, right? You learn from school. So all these things, that's what make us. I think everybody agree. Yes, that's what we all are, okay? And then it breaks down to something what we call upataya rup, derivative of these 4 elements. Well, we have a nervous system, we have a blood system, we have the genital system, we have a sexual system, we have all kind of other subsystems in the body. That's we call derivative upataya rup. Make it to be a man, make it to be a woman, so on and so forth. And those are the things that came out of these 4 elements, okay? And, well, we were born and then we're getting old, they're still young, sooner or later gonna get older, gonna get bigger, and they're gonna get old just like us, and eventually, well, we get sick and die. And that is the process of every life form, okay? So we have this rupa of form just like this. So everyone see that, right? Can you see for yourself? That's what I want you to do, okay? And that's what, when you meditate, that's what you're going to look at. Look at your own form. If you're not sure, open your eyes and look at your nails, your teeth, your whatever, okay? So now we have this form that's taken care of. What about this nama or name only? The reason why we use the term nama is because we cannot see them. See, some said, I'm hurting, okay? I'm really hot. Oh, I'm hungry, okay? How can you see those hurt, those pain, those grief, all those kind emotion, your thinking, your idea. No one can see that, right? That's why we say just the name only. So this name, what are they? Nama is breaking down to, well, first, it's broken down to two major groups, Citta and Cetasika. Citta is the essential knowing nature of this Nama. Anything that knows is Citta. And we translate it to consciousness. Consciousness means know, awareness, knowledge, okay? So that's the first thing that is a central part of this Nama. It must know, must be aware, must be conscious. So that's Citta. Cetasik. Cetasik is translated into concomitants or faculties of Citta. Sometimes I use the term like we describe this government, our government, okay? We have president. As soon as the president was elected, he gathered up his faculties, okay? So we have the Secretary of Interior, Secretary of Education, Secretary of Housing and Development, Secretary of Medical Welfare, so on and so forth, okay? And that's what Citta also have. It must have some kind of faculty or something to help them along. So first, the center of this Nama is Citta. That is knowledge or awareness or consciousness. In Pali is called Vijnana, okay? And from this Vijnana, it sends out a current first to feel, to sense things. Because when you were born, you're not born by yourself. There is something that caused you to be born. So there is something else besides you. So this Citta is the one that sends the current to feel the surrounding, the things around. Okay. So now we have feeling. We can sort of group that in what we call emotive faculty. Talk about emotion. There's three kinds of this emotion. Pleasant, unpleasant, and the third one is, I always use the term indifferent. Neither one, neither pleasant nor unpleasant. So there's three kinds of this feeling, which is emotion, okay? In Pali, it is called Vedana. Vedana is feeling, all right? So we have Citta, center, send out Vedana. What does it feel about this thing? And then, what does it know about things? For example, if I pick up this piece of thing here, everyone said, hey, there's a paper. How do you know it's a paper? You see something, okay? First you are aware. You know this is something. It is a visual object. So you must be aware that this is a visual object because you use your eye to see that, okay? Visual object. How do you feel about this visual object? Well, okay, it's just a piece of paper, so I'm indifferent about this thing. I don't feel pleasant, I don't feel unpleasant about this thing. It's just neutral, okay? That's good. And how do you know this is a piece of paper? Oh, my dad told me. Now, this is about the experience that you did previously. You have encountered this visual object before. So said that my dad told me this is a piece of paper, and they call that. So as soon as I see this, my memory tell me right there, this is a piece of paper. So, and I don't feel good or bad about it, okay? They are just a piece of paper. So now, another faculty comes in play and said, look, what do you think about this? Oh, this is a Dhamma text. It is good because it gives me a knowledge to make me better. So right away, you're thinking, tell me that this is, I'm thinking, my idea is that this is good. Ah. it has some kind of a moral concepts on it. Good, bad, wholesome, unwholesome, merit, evil. This is the way that people do. You make a judgment right there. So first, you know. Secondly, how do you feel about that? Thirdly, how do you know what it is from your memory? And fourthly, you make up your mind about what it is. And then from there on, you choose. Okay? What are you going to do about this thing? I need to learn about this thing because I understand this is Dhamma text. And when I learn, I must do it. Learning and doing must go together. Just like you learn, you have practice, okay? Learn and do, knowing and doing. So those are the four processes of this nama or mind, mental process, right there. So we have the 5 aggregates right there, but just a piece of paper here, okay? I use my form, physical form, through my eyes. See the visual object, piece of paper, okay? This is a process that I'm trying to sort of freshen up for you for these 5 aggregates, all right? Just pay attention now, so you don't have to memorize that. My eyes, it's an object, okay? It's a form. Start with the eyes, the physical form, see this piece of paper. This is a form? Yes, of course it is a form, okay? So you have a media that represent, this is the internal sense organ, belong to me, okay? My eyes belong to me. It's a form. Contact, this reflection of light from this piece of paper, it is also a form, physical form. So this form, visual object, contact the physical form, which is my sense organ. It creates what? Awareness. That's the first thing. Right then and there, consciousness or vijnana arise. 2 objects touch each other. Consciousness arises. That's the way nature is. I hope you see that. Okay? That's the nature of things. Contact of 2 objects. Okay? Sense organ, sense feel. In Pali called ayatana. Okay? 6 inside, 6 outside. As soon as contact each other, arise consciousness or vijnana. That's the first nama, that's the first part of the mind, name only, okay, on the mind part. So as soon as you see this, it sends out. What does it feel about it? So the feeling come into play, emotion, okay? Good, bad, or whatever, pleasant, unpleasant. And then the next thing is that, how do I know that this is a piece of paper? I have a recollection, so you can classify, you can interpret, you can make up things because I remember that's what it was told to me. So I know this what it is, and then this mind formation in Pali is called sankhara. Sankhara made up of 2 parts, okay? First of all, it depends upon the past experience you have. Past experience said that this is called paper. And then from your interpretation, you said this is Dhamma text. From the scripture, from the canon. And then right away your mind said, it must be good. So what is your intention? So you have mind formation, know what it is, and what do you want to do about that? Intention, volition. What do you want to do about this is karma formation, right then and there. As soon as you intend to do something, that is the formation of karma. Okay, so we have all these 5 aggregates right here by having the sensual object contact your eyes. Let's make another thing, okay? Another example. I, this I, okay? I'm going to use this term I, which is just a conventional term to represent me for the sake of communication. You sitting there. I sitting here, okay? So you and I, in this sense, it's just convention. Just represent something that simply for the sake of communication. So now, I am talking. Okay, I am talking. So what happened to you? Your ears, which is your organ of hearing, right? My sound is what we call audible object. So as soon as I produce a sound, those audible object, which is a sound wave, it is form, it is physical, go into your ears. Your ear is a physical, it's a form. As soon as you contact each other, what happened? Awareness of sound arises, isn't it? Okay? So you know that there is a sound in the ear. But that's not what we do every day's life in the world, right? Because as soon as we hear the sound, we know there's a sound. What kind of sound? You can ask yourself, what did I hear? What do I hear? What am I hearing now? So first, the sound of Dhamma talk. Discussion about the teaching of the Buddha. How do you know that? Because that's how you interpret it. We have been told that we're going to talk about the teaching of the Buddha. So you interpret it as teaching of the Buddha. How do you feel about that? Good. Well, not sure. Okay? Because some people may pay attention to this. That goes to the third one. That is what we call sankhara. See, we have vedana, that's feeling. We have sanya, remember what it was. And we have sankhara, how you make up this sound that you hear. If you think it is good, then you start to pay attention to it, right? You sit straight and say, I'm going to pay attention to this because I interpret that it's good. But if I don't think this is good for me, so I don't pay attention to it. Okay? And that's what, you go to lecture room, you go to any teach classes, you're going to see some group of people pay attention, some people are daydreaming, okay? Because their mind is wandering off. They don't pay attention to it. And even worse, some people even fall asleep, yawning, go on right straight to sleep because they just stop listening, period, okay? So there's 3 things that happen. Pleasant, because I want to learn, so I really pay attention. Unpleasant, I think about something else, so daydreaming. And third kind, talk those, it's like a neutral or indifferent, just fall asleep. Only 3 things that happen in a classroom, always. I've noticed that for a long, long time, okay? So this is how it happened. This is the way that we take the teaching of the Buddha and try to analyze and explain the thing that actually happened. So we have form from the physical sound going to the ear and create nama, or the name only, or the mind faculty or mind process. First, aware of that sound. We call consciousness, okay? Consciousness of the ear, sota, vijnana, that is a consciousness of the ear that hear the sound. And then what is the feeling about that? Oh, good, it is very pleasant because I like to know about this. So they pay attention to it because I know from my perception or categorization of this or classification of this. This is Dhamma talk, discussion about the teaching. So I must pay attention and I feel good about it. And then what do I want to do about this? I want to learn. I want to remember so I can use that in my life. That is the 5 aggregates right there. By listening to this lecture. Form, rupa, sound to the ear. Consciousness or vijnana arise. Vedana, feeling. How do you feel about that? And then, when you feel, how do you know what it is? Because you memorize that. That is sanya. And then sankhara. What am I going to do about this? What is my choice on this thing? Discard them? Stop listening to it? Or bring it back home and do it? 5 aggregates. Rup, Vedana, Sanya, Sankhara, and Vijnana. Rupa is form. Vedana is feeling. Sanya is perception, memory. Sankhara is mind formation or thought formation, which is actually, this is the karma formation, because your choice of what you want to do about this. Another one that I think people who has been here always remember this. You walk along the park, okay, leisurely. All of a sudden, there's a visual object of something coming towards you, slithering towards you. You don't feel kind of you see the visual object, you see the object coming towards you, and right away, your perception, your memory tells you that that is a snake. Snake coming towards you. I know that the snake, I saw snake coming towards me. I don't feel easy about it because I was told that there is a poisonous snake, maybe non-poisonous snake, I don't know. But I choose to believe that it's poisonous snake. So what do you want to do about that thing? Pick up a stick and kill the snake? Or walk away? Don't bother with it. Or pick up the stick and move that snake out of the harm's way. So that snake won't be run over by a bicycle or someone come in later on and kill the snake. So right then and there, you have 3 kinds of karma formation in your heart. You can be indifferent, okay? You don't have to do anything. You can be kind to that snake, move snake out of the way. Or you can be cruel to that snake, kill the snake. Your karma is formed right there in your mind at that moment. That's the reason why when you meditate, you break down all these steps into a slow process. When you see this thing very clearly, it will allow you to stop and restrain before you commit any karma. If you don't train yourself this way, everything you see, you hear, you smell, you taste, touch, or think, and it comes at full speed without any restraint, and you will commit that either good or bad karma right away. And most of them are bad. So meditation process allows you, help you, guide you to see this clearly. When you see this, that's your own insight. That's the reason why this doctrine is the doctrine of wisdom. That's the 5 aggregates, 5 components of who we are. So anytime someone asks you, who are you? Oh, just as 5 aggregates. Why? Because if you think this is me, a real me, a substantial me, so everything gonna be turning, revolving around this me. So you become what we call self-centered. And self-centered lead to selfish, egotistic. And that's how suffering starts, from this egotistic concept of this world. Look at all things, suffering that happen in this world always starts with selfishness. And this doctrine, practice this doctrine, will allow you to see how it works, how it comes about, and you will be able to restrain, stop it, eliminate it, abandon it from your heart. When you can be free from this, that is the goal of the Buddha, the awakened one. Okay. All right, so let's prepare to sit and train, to compose the mind, to still the mind, to make the mind strong, still, and eventually gain the strength to penetrate into all this truth. While you meditate, so you can live your life learning to be free from attachment, clinging to things that lead you to wavering of the mind and tainted with greed and craving. So we can live our life in Dhamma. First, try to breathe very deep, about 3 times. Feel the air enter your nose, filling up your lung with this life-saving air, and then slowly let it out naturally. After 3 long breaths, stop forcing the breath. Breathe normally. Quietly observe the breath that enters your nose. Go all the way down to the lower part of your diaphragm. So you may notice the rising of your chest or your abdomen. On the breathing out, the abdomen or the chest is falling. The breath exits at the tip of your nose. Keep watching this quietly. Sometimes the breathing is not even. The in-breath could be long, the out-breath could be long. Sometimes the in-breath is long, but the out-breath is short. Sometimes the in-breath is short, the out-breath is also short. Sometimes it is, in-breath is short, but the out-breath is long. Just observe whatever kind of breathing that arises at this moment. Just follow it, observe it, don't control it. Then the Buddha says, when the long breathing arises, you are aware. You know that this is a long breathing, whether it's in-breath or out-breath. But you know, you are aware. He used the term pachanati. If it is long breath, you must know it is a long breath. The next step, if it is short breath, you must also know that this is short breathing. Whatever kind of breathing that arises, doesn't matter. Just watch it, observe it. You also may notice the effect of this short or long breathing on the entire body. If you're not sure, you can experiment on it at home as long as you like. If your mind is busy and keep wandering off from the breath, you can use the counting method. Slowly count from 1 to 5 when you breathe in. Do the same when you breathe out. When the mind is less busy, stay with the breath. You can stop counting. You may even stop following the breath, but stay watching the breath at the tip of your nose or at your abdomen. Just pick only one place, the one that's most comfortable and natural to you. Stay and watch. In-breath enters the nose and it exits the nose. In and out. Pretty soon, the breath becomes quieter, more relaxed. This is the time that you can take note and observe the breath easier and clearer. During this time, you're watching the breath, but not separate, but watch the breath relate to the entire body. From the first two steps of knowing your long breath and knowing your short breath, it gave you some idea that the breath is a group or system that related to the entire body. It is part of the body. It depends on the body. The body also depends on the breath. If there's no breath, the body cannot survive. If there's no body, there won't be the breath either. Can you see that? There are many groups, subgroups, we use the term bodies. So we have the body of the breath, begins and ends, you know where. You have experienced that. Inside the body, there are many other systems, many other groups, many others bodies. The body of blood, the body of flesh, the body of the nerve, so on and so forth. The body of the breath is part of the entire body. After you observe the breath for a while, the breathing becomes more quiet, more gentle, soft, smooth, even. Sometimes it's so soft that you can barely feel that. Don't be alarmed. You are still breathing softly, quietly. Keep watching at the tip of the nose. You may feel only a faint touch of breath. When the breath becomes disrefined, the body seems to be very relaxed, calm, less tense. So is the mind, because the mind is with the breath. Refine the breath, refine the body. This close, silent observation of the breath, we call that mindfulness. The breath ties to the mind. The mind does not go off anywhere. Stay with the breath. The mind drops off all problems, all concerns, all worries about the outside world. It only stays with the breath. Refine the breath, refine the body, calm the mind. The mind becomes more still, or tranquil. It's settled down. It's gaining strength. This fourth step, calm the breath, calm the body, calm the mind.